I'm 27 years old and I've just now found out that your energy levels and your productivity levels fluctuate very predictably during your 28-day cycle. How am I just now finding out about this? Hey, it's Tessa. Thank you so much for tuning back into my channel. Today we're chatting cycles. Menstrual cycles, moon cycles, cycles of the seasons, cycles of your energy. I'm gonna learn all about it today and how it all connects. Now, you may or may not have heard people refer to a woman's menstrual cycle as their moon cycle. I had heard this in the past, never really thought anything of it, like moon cycle is 28 days, so is a menstrual cycle, boom, that's why they call it that. Interestingly enough, if you are unaffected by medication and out living in the natural rhythms of nature, you should bleed with the new moon and ovulate with the full moon. Crazy. We're animals, we're nature, we've got it programmed within us, and in this modern society, sometimes we become so disconnected, whether that's through medicating ourselves, through poor coping mechanisms, through screens and bright lights and more and materialism, and we get so disconnected from the root nature. At the end of the day, we are nature. We've got nature inside of us and we're affected by the nature around us. If you are wanting clues into your cycle, pay attention to the moon. It could have a lot of insight for you. This is all brand new information. I encourage you to take some notes. Do I do that? Do I encourage you to take notes? I don't know. I'm 27 years old and I've just now found out that your energy levels and your productivity levels fluctuate very predictably during your 28-day cycle. How am I just now finding out about this? This concept shed so much light on my natural cycle for me, and I hope it can do the same for you. Cycle tracking is something I am brand new to, so disclaimer, as always, I'm sharing this information as a fellow student and not as an all-knowing menstrual queen by any means. That was a lot of rhyming. Before I can connect the rhythms of Mother Nature into the menstrual cycle, I'd like to do a review of the menstrual cycle and what's happening in your body during that time. I feel that a good place to start explaining is ovulation, because we know that's when the egg gets released from the follicle when it's ready to be fertilized. So what happens? We've got, this is going to be a great diagram. This is your follicle that's holding on to the egg. Follicle releases the egg, it's on its way down, it's ready to be fertilized at any time as soon as it's released from here. So we've got this little leftover corpus luteum. I may or may not be saying that right, so please do correct me if I'm wrong. But now this guy starts producing progesterone. It's prepping the uterine lining to be soft and ready to house this egg should it get fertilized. So as soon as ovulation starts, so does the luteal phase of your cycle. That lasts 12 to 14 days is the second half of your cycle. During that time, this little leftover empty follicle, the corpus luteum, is releasing progesterone. And then comes the time in the cycle for implantation or menstruation. Your body knows that this egg didn't get fertilized. In this hypothetical scenario that I'm talking about anyways, this egg did not get fertilized. So your corpus luteum sitting here gets this message that we're not pregnant, so let's get rid of that, take down the wallpaper, get rid of the baby room, there's no need for it. Uterine lining starts flushing out and you have your menstruation. This is actually when the cycle begins, but for the sake of explaining it, I felt it was easier to start at ovulation. So day 1 menstruation, day 1 of your cycle. Anyways, after your menstruation, so once you're done bleeding, you enter what's called your follicular phase. This is when this follicle is again preparing to release an egg. It's getting excited. And your uterine lining again is starting to build up in preparation for a potential pregnancy. Hopefully that's a good recap. Let's talk about the energetic indications of each of those phases. I'd like to talk about the 4 different phases of your cycle and how they energetically have their own gift. Starting with menstruation. As you could guess, menstruation acts as the winter of your cycle. A time to focus inward, to rest, to reflect. The left and right side of your brain are in very close communication during your menstruation period of your cycle. It's a great time to tap into your intuition. And please don't come at me, that doesn't mean tapping into your irrational emotions. That means getting clear, getting still, turning inward, and tapping into that intuition. That's the gift of the menstrual period of your cycle. The new moon, the winter, the calm, the still. During menstruation, your energy level, your physical energy level is low. So honor that by not scheduling doctor's appointments or coffee dates. Honor that by doing slow, passive movements or complete rest. You don't need to always be on the move, and that's the point. The point is to work with your energy depending on where your energy is in your cycle. That's the winter of it. Let's move on to spring, or your follicular phase. Spring is a time of building momentum, of starting projects, of brainstorming, of making to-do lists, of planting seeds. Your energy is focused outward and your light is shining outward. It's a great time for starting new projects or exploring new ideas. Physically, your energy is on the rise. You can honor this by doing gentle flows or jogging, going on walks. Whatever your body is calling for, listen to that energy and honor it. Serve it, attend to it, give into it. Give your body what she's asking for, or what they're asking for. All of this energy that you're building in the follicular phase is building up to the summer, which is ovulation, where energetically you are magnetic. You're attractive, like in a sexual sense too. You've got pheromones going off. You're just gonna be an attractive being, and that's not woo-woo. There's studies out about that. You've got a fertile body. You've got a fertile mind. Your creativity is fertile. There's nothing that can stop you. This is a great time to use your voice to share about passions, about the projects that you've been working on. Get the word out there. Interact with people. This is the time in your cycle when you want to plan those important meetings, the presentation, the coffee date that you've been putting off, the thing that you're nervous about doing or worried about not having the energy or charisma to do. Plan it during your ovulation. That's a great, great time where you've got this outward, magnetic, palpable energy. You are radiant light and warmth, and people can feel that. Hormonally speaking, you are particularly articulate during this time, so use it. Use it to your advantage. It's a great time to talk about your projects, to collaborate with other people, and to tap into your egg wisdom, which I'm making an entire other video on egg wisdom because it's so fantastic. All these concepts that I'm learning about by unpacking a natural cycle is just phenomenal. If getting off birth control is something that you've been thinking about for a while, I highly encourage you to take the leap. This journey is cool, and I'm really glad I'm getting to share what I'm learning with you, whoever was watching. Once ovulation is over, we're immediately in the luteal phase. This is the autumn of the menstrual cycle. It lasts about 12 to 14 days, which is clearly the longest part of the cycle. Why is it this way? Well, we're in this state of finishing up, tidying up. We're in the autumn. We're winding down and we're heading into the rest period. So we need this time to finish what we started. What projects need to get done? What boxes need to be ticked? What deadline do you need to reach? Bring it home. This is the time to tidy, to organize, to get all of your ducks in a row before that true rest period of your cycle. And the best way to honor it is by doing it. Because if you're not using this time to prepare, to organize, to inward reflect, to get ready for stillness, then you enter the menstruation or the stillness, the new moon, the winter part of your cycle unsettled. And it throws off your energy a bit. To honor this part of your cycle, follow through. Make promises to yourself and keep them. Your brain chemistry is actually wired to help you follow through during this time, so tap into that and use it to get ready to rest and recover during your menstruation week. And then that wraps us up back to the beginning. The ebbs and flows of nature, the way that the moon fills and empties, and the way that the seasons cycle, and the way that our energies and our creativity and our productivity fluctuates, it's all connected. And if you are a person who is in touch with your spiritual side, or with nature, or your higher essence, or your true essence, whatever you want to call it, I encourage you to incorporate what you now know about the energy cycle throughout a month that fluctuates with the moon, fluctuates inside your body, and use that to schedule your appointments or friend dates or work meetings, projects, and take notes. Does anything change? This is something that I'm doing with myself right now. I have just gotten off birth control. I'm not quite sure where all my 4 phases are sitting on my cycle right now. So I'm following the moon as a rule of thumb, and I will report back. I've heard nothing but good things from gals who have implemented these theories into their life, so I'm curious. Is it helpful? Okay. I hope you enjoyed today's video, that you found it informative in some way. To take what you now know about the energetic rhythms of your cycle, take it back home so that you're wasting less energy. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to sit down and watch this. Hope it was nothing but helpful, and I'll see you next Tuesday.